morning. Please stand and sing with us.
Amen. Why don't you go ahead and grab a seat?
Glad that you're with us. Today, it is a unique day for us. We have just this one service today, and today we are celebrating Pastor Brian Stroh, his whole family. They've been here 20 years. Pastor Brian on staff here for 20 years, and as we celebrate today, I couldn't even dream up a way to make Pastor Brian more uncomfortable than to have a day that's focused on him and his accomplishments and what he's done here and what he means to so many people. The Strohs are definitely not limelight-grabbing kinds of people, which certainly is part of their ministry to us and how they have served so well and been such examples of servanthood over the years. That a day like this, when even I've already said his name too many times, they get a little uncomfortable. But as I said to him when he first walked in today is all about you and making you as uncomfortable as possible. So that is our goal today. So I'm going to, and I apologize, Vaughn, if this messes up our camera angle, but I decided to do our announcement game a little bit differently, and I want the Stroh kids. So from youngest to oldest, right here on this top step. And you got to be shoulder to shoulder. You got to be close together, right on the edge up front there. There you go. Charlie right here. We have Kinsley, and we have Charlie. We have Wes, and we have Riley, okay? So you guys, this whole week, if you're playing our game during the week, it's all Brian Stroh trivia. So we've got 3 questions today, and we're going to see how they do. Now, the Strohs are highly competitive, to the point where if they were not, I know, yeah, but if they weren't related, they'd divorce each other. This is how this is going to go. And Riley, I want to say it for you, okay? This is going to be unfair for you. Okay. Big time. Because Kinsley gets to choose which of the 4 options is the correct one for her dad. She gets to choose first on each question. And whatever letter she picks, A, B, C, or D, no one else can choose that letter. Which means, Riley, you choose nothing. Yeah. You get the leftovers. Okay, here we go. Question 1. When Pastor Brian makes a pit stop during a road trip, what is his go-to snack? Yeah, you can look at that, yeah. Okay, so Kinsley, you get to guess first. A, B, C, or D?
4. Yeah.
What? Sorry, 1, 2, 3, or 4? Look, whoever made this did it wrong, which was me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, or 4?
4.
You're picking 4. Charlie?
I'll go 3 then.
3?
2.
2.
Give me Cheetos.
Cheetos? Your dad would never pick Cheetos.
Oh, he would not.
The correct answer is peanut M&Ms. Wait. There's prizes. $10 Starbucks card. All right. Okay, question number 2. Come on, Riley, do better. All right. What is Pastor Brian's life verse? Oh.
3. I'll turn around. 3.
Wait, you got to turn that off. Wait.
Hey, just turn around.
Yeah. We are having some technical difficulties.
3. You already won one.
Okay. Which one are you picking? Kinsley, what do you got? Which one? Go. Question 2. Bring it up. Advance. There you go. Deuteronomy 23:1, John 3:17, Philippians 3:12-14, Hezekiah 9:12-14.
We'll do 4 so they can win.
You're picking 4? You're picking Hezekiah? It's not even a book of the Bible.
They can win.
Sorry, you
I'm
take
trying
it.
to be nice.
Charlie?
I'll do 3, 4.
Charlie's going for 3.
3,
2.
Deuteronomy 23:1.
Correct answer is Philippians. Very good. All right, Charlie, here you go.
Thank you. You tell me if I get them all correct, then I get all the prizes.
You would get all the prizes.
Oh, okay, no more of this.
Okay. All right, last question. There's only 3 questions. What is Pastor Brian's all-time favorite action movie? The Fugitive, Die Hard, The Matrix, or The Bourne Identity?
I'm between 2.
Okay, you're picking Die Hard.
The Fugitive.
The Fugitive. Matrix. Bourne Identity.
What?
Riley, you've gotten all of them wrong. The correct answer is The fugitive. Charlie, you get one here, and then I only have one left.
He has a new girlfriend. I got
Wait,
one.
who'd you steal that from?
Put it in my back pocket.
Look at that. Give him a hand, guys. Give him a hand. All right, so during the week, we're playing that as well. Each evening, Pastor Brian will go on to that Facebook post, and he will put down what the correct answer is. And if you get it right, one of the Stroh kids will take you to coffee. So, better be Mondays. That's right. That's right. Well, again, we've got a couple quick announcements. First of all, we are streaming on YouTube right now. Usually we stream on Facebook during our second service. We're streaming on YouTube. There was a link on Facebook for our YouTube. So welcome, Facebookers, YouTubers, all the various people. Glad that you're with us as well to celebrate here, to celebrate with us here. If you came ready to give, we don't generally pass a plate here during our worship time, but there are towers in the back that you can give. You can always give online, those sorts of things as well. We have a baptism service coming up at a unique time. It is going to be on August 14th. So if you would like to be baptized, there is still time for us to get you into that service. So please let us know. Come talk to myself, any of our pastors or elders, or just go to the Welcome Center. They can help you out there as well. So we make sure we've got your name down and get you set for baptism. We have also an opportunity coming up on the 10th. It is a Wednesday evening to do some painting. If you were part of the Immersion Sioux Falls group that went out, and we did some painting indoors and some electrical work, and then we went out to the banquet and we served out at the banquet. That afternoon we were supposed to do some exterior painting and to work on staining or painting a deck, which we were not able to do because it started to rain and the house got wet, and of course that doesn't really work. We still want to fulfill that commitment, and we know there were many people that said, I would have loved to have come to the immersion night, but we couldn't, or immersion day, because of other things. So the 10th, we're going to take that evening, a good chunk of time. We need a lot of hands, we need a lot of brushes that evening to paint that house. So you can come out and be a part of that from 5 to 9. You can come out for a portion of that, whatever, but go on to the Church Center app, register there, and we'd love to have you to be a part of that on that particular Wednesday night. We also have this Wednesday, we have a Canaries game. That's this one, right? Yeah, August 3rd. 7 o'clock, we're going to go out and see the Canaries play. You can get tickets here at the Welcome Center, but you can also sign up on that Church Center app and make sure you got your ticket, but you can get those there as well. So that's coming up. Next week, we start a brand new series called The Grudge. And in this, as we talked about in this last series we've been doing, we're going to be talking a lot about forgiveness. A lot about what forgiveness is and how we forgive. And what does it mean when we're actually forgiving someone? And what does it mean when we have to try and forgive ourselves? And is that possible, or what does that look like? How do we know if we have or have not forgiven ourselves? What does God's forgiveness mean for us? So all of these things is a part of the grudge we're going to be talking about, which will really end our summer well, as we've been talking about being offended and just all the tensions that are out there, and to bring some harmony into our world, into our own lives too. And then today, like I said, we're celebrating Pastor Brian and his family. And then after service today, you are invited to eat with us over here. We have pulled pork, we have brisket, we have Larry's cowboy beans. I got to sample them today. They have chopped steak in them and bacon. They were amazing. So come and join us for that immediately afterwards. I'm going to have you stand right now, and we're going to continue to worship.
Saturday was silent, surely it was through. Since when has impossible This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise, make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out, I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal
so much for celebration. Thank you that that we have reasons to celebrate, God. Thank you that you work through us. Thank you for working through Pastor Brian these past 20 years, and for as well. But thank you that you've just used him to make an impact on your kingdom, God. I pray that you would continue to use him and the whole Stroh family to continue to impact your kingdom, God. I pray that would be something that can inspire us and encourage us from this morning, that I pray that we would be able to go out into our weeks and be thinking about how we can make a difference for your kingdom. So, God, we love you so much. Thank you. Just be here with us this morning. Amen.
When you look over the 20 years that Pastor Brian has been here with us, he started here really as a kid. You think 20 years back, family just barely getting started. Now they take up an entire row. And you think of the different places that Pastor Brian has been and served around here, and Pastor Trina, and the things that they have done. How he started here at Hillcrest, what he's been doing along the way, the events and things that he has been a part of. There are plenty of times that for whatever reason, Pastor Brian has had a dress on. There are some costumes, which if you know Pastor Trina, he's put in costume often around here for various things. And so what we did is we asked individuals, including his parents, for some photos. And then we wanted to show you some of those, and in some ways it doesn't actually go in chronological order, but at the same point, a little bit of a taste of some of the ways that the Strohs have been here at Hillcrest, a part of this family, serving, loving people around here, and really just letting God's love and grace shine through them, and we put it to a little bit of music too. So enjoy this video montage of the Strohs.
That's a bat. Ah. 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 That's a bat.
My favorite photo of Brian of all time is that last one. It's so good. Could have made such a good Keebler elf. He likes cookies, so. I'm going to invite Jackie McNamara to come on up. A few people that wanted to share a couple of things today in relationship to Pastor Brian, his ministry, some of those things that have really been impactful and certainly have been markers of his ministry as well. Jackie was the principal at Cleveland Elementary when we first started serving over there and had, I think, just a great perspective and some things about Brian that she wanted to share as well. Andrew, it's the blue one. Yeah, right in the center there.
Good morning. As he said, my name is Jackie McNamara, and I am privileged this morning to get a chance to talk about Pastor Brian. I first met him in the summer of 2007. I was a newly assigned principal at Cleveland Elementary at that time, and he contacted me and wanted to talk about a school business partnership. That was not my first rodeo as a principal. I'd had that discussion with others, and it usually didn't go well. So I have to be honest and tell you, I was doubtful. But I didn't know at that time Pastor Brian Stroh. Brian makes it happen. He's dedicated, he's there, and he works with, for, and beside the students, the parents, the teachers, and the whole community. Shortly after I had that meeting with Brian, it was time for the back to school in-service. Brian facilitated lunch for 85 people that day. But he didn't just sit in his office and order lunch for 85 people. He was there to set up. He was there to help tear down. He was there to help take care of the garbage. That's the kind of person Pastor Brian is. He sees what needs to be done and he makes sure that it happens. I could never stand here this morning because they gave me a time allotment and tell you all the things I know about Brian and Cleveland Elementary, but I want to highlight a couple of them for you. We had to take and clean all the tabletops off, or desktops, at Cleveland Elementary, and Brian was there to help do that. There were 690 students at Cleveland, but Brian helped to do that. He helped with a landscape project. He helped take tickets at the pancake supper. He was our treasurer of our PTO. He was on the interview team when I asked him to come help hire teachers and hire clerical staff. He was there when we did training with the teachers for working with families and children in poverty. We have conferences twice a year in the school system, and Brian was there to help provide meals, coffees for the office team, mentors and reading buddies. We needed 2 mobile computer labs to the tune of $60,000, and Brian was there. Brian serves, Brian loves. He is the hands and feet of Jesus. He's patient. He is one of the most patient people I know. He follows through. He thinks ahead. He anticipates what needs to be done. And he leads by example for all of us. He challenges us to be the best that we can be. He challenges us to get involved at Cleveland. All those things I listed, he didn't do them alone. You were there too, doing all of those projects, being reading buddies, being mentors. He shares his knowledge. The whole school business partnership in Sioux Falls and in the areas has grown, and he's changed the culture of that because he had that vision and was willing to put the time in. Brian wrote his book, Bridge the Gap, so that he could share those things that went well and those things that didn't, so others could learn from it. But in true Brian style, then he also offered to help schools and businesses and churches so they could be successful. He offers lunch and learns and coffees and virtual network resources so others, not even just in the Sioux Falls area, can benefit. I have been proud to serve with Brian when I was at Cleveland Elementary, here at Hillcrest, and I'm proud to call him a friend. I wasn't going to look at him because I knew it would happen. I'm proud to call you a friend, Brian. But we also know behind every great man is a great woman, and I couldn't have the mic this morning without giving kudos to Pastor Trina as well. So thank you to both of you. Thank you and congratulations on 20 years.
Jackie has such a unique perspective in the role that she had then, and as she has gotten to know Pastor Brian, get involved here at Hillcrest, and now one of our elders on Leadership Council. Wonderful testimony there. When I came to Hillcrest back in 1998, there was a kid in a youth group, and she was very much a servant attitude kind of person. Wherever a need was, she met that need. At the same point, she was not going to go unnoticed in her ideas on how things could be improved in the youth group and these sorts of things. And so after a few years of being in there, and as Pastor Brian came in, this young gal still in the youth group, Jessie Matson back then, today Jessie Copeland, was a part of his very first ministry here. So she has seen the Strohs from beginning to today and been a babysitter for him and all kinds of things along the way. She has a great perspective on their ministry here. I'm going to invite Jessie to come on up and share a little bit about that.
So I met Trina when I was 17, summer of 2002, and we were on a training and mission trip to Mexico. And I'd never met them before. I think Trina and I are both glad our picture of our cornrowed hair from that trip is not on display this morning. But we had a blast that summer and quickly fell in love with them and just learned a lot that summer with them. And then shortly after that, Pastor Doug said, we are going to hire Brian as our youth pastor. I was going to be a senior, and I was ecstatic. We were all so excited because we knew the Strohs and we loved them. And we just knew a lot of good was in store with them coming on board. And so it was my senior year, and Brian came in as our youth pastor. He came kind of after a time of hardship, and he had to pick up some broken pieces, and he really comforted some confused kids through that time, but he really showed us what genuine faith was and what it was like to walk with Jesus, and he cared for us well, and he let us learn and grow and just be challenged throughout that year. And I think so many of my friends that I was in youth group with that year would say that was such a formative year in our faith and in our walk in the church. Brian and I did have some differing opinions, though, on some things. And I was an eager high school kid, and I thought every event should be a party, big or small. And so I always wanted to put streamers up, and he'd always be like, Jess, you don't got to put streamers up all the time. So naturally, I added some streamers today because I'm still who I am. But life continued to fly by. They continued to be here. And I think the two words that would describe them is that they just provided a steady leadership for us from that time on, from the day they walked into these doors, and here they are still. And I think that's what we would say about them, myself and so many of you sitting here. Several months later, years later, I moved back to Sioux Falls and was working with Hillcrest at the Powerhouse Tutoring Center. And Brian got to be my boss. And the whole Powerhouse project was really championed by him and led by him. And his leadership and his passion and his faith is the reason probably that whole ministry was launched. And I look back now and realize that he didn't give me a second to doubt myself as a leader in that ministry. He guided me and walked me through that process and helped me process challenges and everything that went along with what was happening in that new area. And I think of those years as formative to who I am. And so just grateful for those years at the Powerhouse. He did have to bring me back down to earth there as well when I emailed and said, Brian, my boyfriend, Shane, who he introduced me to, wants to go on a trip, and this is a really big deal. And he kindly reminded me that launching a ministry was also a really big deal. So thankfully, things still worked out. Brian and Trina are the best kind of people. They're better than you know they are and think they are, and they have touched more lives and more areas of ministry than they will ever lay claim to as they humbly serve. If you have heard the saying, if you want something done, ask a busy person, that's who the Strohs are. And I would add that if you want to learn and grow and see genuine relationship with Christ and have a lot of fun and laugh too, serve alongside them. You guys have been there for me through so many ups and downs, I can't look at you. And big and small, and just every walk, every part of the journey of my life. And we all would say that we have felt loved and cared for by you. We've been covered in prayers. We've received so many notes of encouragement and thank yous that we can't always read, but we know the sentiment. And we are just so grateful for the ways you've touched our lives. You all know, right? So thank you guys for who you are. Thank you, Brian, Trina, Riley, Wesley, Charlie, and Kinsley, all of you, just for all that has been and all that is to come. We love you so much.
Yeah, Pastor Brian's not known for having the best handwriting on his thank you cards. I've had many people say, yeah, Pastor Brian gave me a thank you card. Oh, what did it say? I don't know. It was so nice, though. Oh, yeah, you know, and what you've heard here, I think, has been an example all the way through. You know, even our own family, just journeying with the Strohs has been shaping for us. I mean, we just don't know what church ministry looks like without them. They've been here so long and shared in all of that. You know, we were in our 20s when we started here. I'm 52 today. So, you know, we have just grown up together in this. And I couldn't ask for a better partner in ministry, someone to share the ups and downs with, someone to be frustrated with, someone to celebrate with. He has been there in the times that have been difficult moments for me, times where I didn't feel like I could take another step forward, and he was there encouraging me and stepping in to help. And that's just one of the things about the Strohs, is that they are always there to step in wherever there is a need, if they see a void. And they just do it's just endless, the amount of things that they're willing to do. In fact, even this week, as we were getting ready for doing things, one of the things that Pastor Brian's done this summer is he has let everyone who's been serving on the coffee team take the entire summer off, and every single Sunday Brian does the coffee. And so Jen Simons, our administrative assistant, she said, who's doing coffee this week? And I go, well, I have no idea. She goes, well, I think it's Brian. And I said, well, he can't do it. It's his Sunday. And so sure enough, we found out that Brian was doing it. So I literally had to send him an email saying, you are fired. Like, you cannot do it. So, and of course, other people were willing to step up. But he would have this morning literally been serving coffee for his morning, because that's just, literally just who he is and who they are as a family. He's done a lot of different things in his time here. Starting off in student ministries, he's been a camp director, camp pastor. They were awarded Angels on Adoption, went to Washington, D.C., really cool thing there. He's been a retreat speaker. He's a community leader within Sioux Falls here. He's been school advisor. He's been on the Empower Church Network team with the school partnerships. He's an author with Bridge the Gap. He's our executive pastor here, and for me and many of you as well, not only a pastor, but a really good friend. I invite Pastor Brian to come on up. So I figured, let's ask him a few questions. And some of this, every one of you have your own journey with Pastor Brian at whatever point you've entered into this. And his story, of course, spans quite a bit. So Pastor Brian, what reason, like why did you start working here at Hillcrest, and what role did you have when you started?
Yeah, started here because I needed a job.
True that.
I mean, it was in between our second and third year over at North American Baptist Seminary at the time, Sioux Falls Seminary now, and you had moved to the transitional pastor, eventually the lead pastor role, and you approached myself about taking the youth pastor job here. And I had, like Jesse said, we had done the Young Leaders Project with her and Joy Lynn and a couple other students from your ministry. But it was actually that year before when you were going, a bunch of the youth pastors in the area were going to the youth pastor convention, that conference.
Right.
What's that? Yeah, Youth Specialties Conference, yeah. And you guys were going, Troy, my boss over at Trinity, was going, Oak Hills guys were going, but I wasn't going. There wasn't money in the budget to do that. And you said, hey, we're paying for your way to go. And I'm like, that's how I first really got to know this place. And so when you approached about me taking over for the youth spot, I was really interested and really glad I did.
Yeah, it was a really cool story, and just seeing Brian as he was working over there with Troy over at Trinity, but getting to know him at seminary and seeing that this guy is unique, this guy's a special guy, and I wanted him on my team. Little did I know we'd still be together after 20 years, but
it helped that we cut chapel together too, so.
We did, to play pool. We love Jesus and pool. It's okay. What are some? What's a good memory from those early years here at Hillcrest?
Yeah. So, Jesse was talking about, coming in and some conversations with her on streamers. I think the first trip I took with Hillcrest was still going to Little Eagle, Standing Rock Indian Reservation, doing VBSs and that type of thing, and so we went, and the last night, Pastor Richie, who was leading our middle school, he had the middle schoolers doing some dumb activity, dumb thing, and I'm playing cards with Joylyn and Jesse and a couple other students, and Josh Tigner, for those of you who know the Tigners, Josh Tigner comes running down the steps in the basement church there in Isabel. I'm like, what did you do? He's like, I was here. I was here the whole time. I'm like, all right. Well, this rather angry adult comes also running down the stairs, and where is he? I'm like, oh, we've got a problem here. So jump up, and I said, sir, what? Just done with SEM, so I thought I'd bust out some expensive words. I said, sir, what can we do to appease the situation? He's like, appease the situation. I don't think he maybe knew what that meant. Maybe, I don't know. Appease the situation. I'll tell you what you can do to appease the situation. Where is that kid? I'm like, crap. So go up the stairs, find Josh. Now the sheriff is coming.
To appease the situation.
Right. And I think Richie and I had cells at this time, but I'm like, where are you? Like, come on. This is your turf, your territory. And they put Josh in the car to kind of give him a good scare and let him off with a warning. What he had done is he had taken this guy's, he owned an auto shop. He had taken his tires and rolled them across the county highway. Somewhat harmless. There wasn't a lot of, vandalism done. So we appeased it. We appeased the situation. So,
good.
Yeah. That group is as great as they are. We also got kicked out of the Fargo Mall, which is my hometown mall. So.
If you get kicked out of the Fargo Mall, I mean, that's really doing something.
Yeah, they did something. So, yeah.
Well, so you started in student ministry. So what have been some of your?
How you segue from that?
Well, you know what? It's because I'm thinking of the water balloons outside the bar in Isabel. You remember that?
No.
Where the students got a water balloon launcher across the street, and as people came out of the bar tipsy, they were trying.
I think that was before me, so the tires sound better, or sound less antagonistic.
I knew that if I didn't hire someone, I wouldn't survive here. So under my watch, really bad things were happening. So Well, what have been some of the changes to your role over the years here?
Yeah, so I was the youth pastor till 2006, and then was like the ministry pastor, which is like an associate type of role for a few years, and then the executive pastor these last few years.
Sure. And so we have another pastor on staff, Pastor Tarina. What is it like having Tarina on staff with you?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. No, I mean, it's awesome. Like Tarina, you're gonna find few people that love this place more than she does, and that love
Very
really
true.
not just Hillcrest, but the concept of church and what church is about, and how kids and families grow up and grow closer to Jesus. And you know, when we would go to starting out, you know, twice a month leadership council meetings, then once a month council meetings, and then having to share all that, or what I remembered from it. And she's like, well, what did people say, and what did they think, and what do they feel? And I would give bullet points, like, this is the decisions that we made, and well, how did it get made? And now that she's on the council, I can skip all that. So, you know, she can see all that, and we cut out a lot of that stuff. And probably the only challenge with having your spouse on staff is, so her office is here, and then mine is kind of kitty corner. And when she's kind of in a doesn't want to tackle her stuff, she'll come to my office and tackle my stuff. But my stuff doesn't need to be tackled. Like I know
She may beg to differ.
I know where my stuff is, and you know, so she starts tooling. I'm like, get to what you need to do. So.
So true, so true. So, you know, a lot of people, you would say, you know, people get celebrated for being in ministry for 20 years. You've been at Hillcrest for 20 years. What has kept you here?
Well, I mean, I look at all of you. I mean, the folks who are here, the families that are here, the faces that are here. We grew up here. We've been here. I started here when I was 24, about to turn 25. I mean, the kids were born here. We made a lot of mistakes here, like those first couple of years as well. Like I can remember, we had a youth team with different folks represented, and I can remember cutting the person who oversaw our worship area for the youth, like just cut their budget because I didn't like it. And like, oh, you know, I had a high school student, Jesse, who wanted to do more. I'm like, no, tone it down. You know, let's not do, you know, all these things. Like, who does that, right? Like, I mean, you got people that want to do things, and so just a lot of mistakes. There's some folks who are still here who remember my first couple of messages and talk about how much, you know, I've grown. So that's awesome to hear, but that also means how bad those first couple ones were. So, you know, so just you know, like, and as we've grown and matured, it's just been great to see Hillcrest respond to God's continual movement and work in and through you. You know, we still have these things on the walls as we look at Cleveland and Adams Thermal, and as we look at, you know, adoption and foster care and South Sudan, and we have a team in Honduras right now, and just some of these things that Feeding South Dakota. Becoming a church that the community would miss was a big part of what has kept us here and really kept us here. And the church isn't just us on stage or just those who have names on the doors, but it's all of us. It's all of you and all of us doing and serving and being those hands and feet of Jesus, not just in specific ministry places, but also in the places where you hang your hat week to week, day to day, the places you work at, the places you live in, the places that your kids go to school, being the best representatives of Jesus as you can in those areas. It's been fun and humbling to grow with you and to mature with you.
You know, in ministry, you know, it's kind of like riding a bike. It doesn't just stand still; it would fall apart. It's always moving forward, always developing. And you know, Hillcrest has been changing and developing over the years. We've had some big moments of change, which we're coming into another one as we're, you know, making new adjustments again. Same with your ministry. You know, as you started, your ministry has changed and developed, you know, through these 20 years. How do you see your ministry developing in the future?
Yeah, I think it's just being open to what that next chapter looks like, or what the next act looks like. We're, as a leadership, as staff, and as leadership council, we're seeking God for what's next in terms of vision and mission and purpose. And whether we continue with some of these initiatives that we've continued with, or whether some of those initiatives look new or renewed in some sense, I think it's being open to that and just continue to be open to what God has for us and what God has for this place.
So as we celebrate your 20 years with Hillcrest, what encouragement do you have for us?
You've been amazing. You are amazing. You've loved us well. You've cared for us well. You've given us a lot of grace, a lot of encouragement. You've walked with us through really great times. You've walked with our family through some really challenging times as well. And so grateful for all of you and for being here today and just being part of our family's story and our family's life. There's a lot of opinion. There's a lot of chatter on church and culture and issues and politics and these types of things. I would encourage all of us to continue to be a church, continue to be people who live out our faith to Jesus by being people who go first. I think coming out of the couple of years that we're coming out of, not only is there a lot of the division stuff that we're all well aware of, but people are waiting for other people to reconnect with them or to connect with them or to notice them. And I haven't been always great at noticing people in 20 years here. It's been a growth area for me. But as you go to shop at the store, as you go to your kids' schools, as you hang out with people, as you just do your day-to-day life, who can you notice? Who needs you noticing them? Who needs you to go first? To be the first one to extend a hand, or be the first one to say hello, or be the first one to maybe do something that person needs to be done. At the immersion day this last Saturday, we were serving at the banquet, and Cheryl told a great story about meeting Cody and just meeting people like that, but even just looking people in the eye and just recognizing this is a human being created in God's image who has a story that's similar to mine in some ways, and maybe a story right now that looks very different than mine. But yet they're still creating God's image. They're still a human being like I am. I can look them in the eye. I can say their name. I can learn a little bit about them. I can serve them as best I can. And obviously all of us can't do all of it, but each of us can do something. Each of us can do that day in and day out.
Awesome. Well, as we close our service here, I want to take a moment and pray for Pastor Brian and his ministry as well as his family. Worship team's going to close with a song, and then we're going to go eat. So, Pastor Brian and I, neither one of us are very touchy-feely guys. We just, we don't touch each other a lot. So when we do, it's unique. And so we're going to stand. I'm going to pray for him, and I'm going to touch you. Forewarning.
Yeah, that doesn't sound creepy.
Father God, I thank you for this man. I thank you for his family, their love for you, their love for this church. Lord, the ministry that they have been to so many, including me and my family. Lord, we love them, and we are thankful that you have brought them to this place, that you have inspired them, that you have created in them a heart of teaching by leading by example, showing what it looks like to love you in the good times and in the difficult times, and being there to be that extra shoulder at times when people need them, to be that push of encouragement to keep on track. But Lord, also being a couple that has allowed their hurts and their struggles to be known within many of those groups and within many people, so that people can learn how they make it through these things and how they stay strong in their faith even when they feel weak. Lord, they have been steadfast. They have been consistent. And Lord, in a very, very positive way. And that Hillcrest would not be what she is today without their love, without their support, without their encouragement, without their even admonishment at points. But Lord, their love for all of us that they have served with. So Lord, we thank you for Pastor Brian, Pastor Trina, for their whole family, the way that you have worked in and through them. We look forward to the days ahead as we continue to love and serve together. In Jesus' name. And all God's people said, amen. Yeah.
with us.
God of Abraham, you're the God of covenant and faithful promises. Time and time again, you have proven you'll do just what you say. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast. And let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. God from age to age, though the earth may pass away, your word remains the same. Your history can prove there's nothing you can't do. You're faithful and true. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast. And let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. And great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me. I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. He'll never let me down. Great is your faithfulness to me. Oh, great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. And great is your faithfulness to me.
Well, that concludes our service here in this space. We're going to transition from here over into the Family Life Center, our gym over there, again, where we have pulled pork and brisket and Lee's cowboy beans with chopped Larry's. Who did I say? Oh, I've got Lee's beans stuck on my head. I want you to know, if you've ever had Lee's beans, they're amazing. I had Larry's today, and that's why Lee's beans are stuck in my head. They're that good. Chopped steak and bacon in them, they're a meal all by themselves. But we invite you to come back to celebrate over there with us. We've got a little game we're going to do over there. We've got gifts that we're going to give out to them, not to you, gifts for them, and just continue the celebration. God bless you all. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of this very special service today as we celebrate the Strohs, the 20 years here that God has blessed them. Thank you so much.